Good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar, Launch Your Own UCaaS Practice Easily and Effectively, brought to you by Channel Partners. If you're a reader of Channel Partners, hopefully you've seen my name, my byline, on several articles there. My name is Howard M. Cohen. I spent decades, I won't tell you how many, in the channel as an executive. About 10 years ago, I decided to step out and write for and about the channel, and I continue doing that today. Before we begin the actual presentation, I'd like to take care of some administrivia, a little bit of housekeeping, and how you can participate in our presentation today. If you have any technical difficulties at any time, you'll see a help key on your console. Press that and you'll receive assistance in solving the common problems that come up with this console. We also welcome your questions during today's event. You'll notice that on the console you have a Q&A window. In order to submit your questions, just type them into the question window on the right-hand side of the screen. Hit the submit button. We'll be answering as many as we can during the Q&A session after the presentation. But feel free, as soon as a question occurs to you, send it in. We'd like to have it as soon as possible so we can make sure we get to them. If at any time you're having audio difficulties, simply hit, or if the slides seem to be frozen, hit your F5 key. I just did that myself and it worked perfectly. So just hit the F5 key to refresh your browser and it should solve the problem. Happens sometimes. Also, for those of you who have friends who couldn't make it or want to be able to review this again, a recording of this session will be available on the Channel Partners website, channelpartnersonline.com, later today. So you'll be able to access it there, and you'll also be notified by email when that on-demand webinar is available. Okay, so let's get into it. Today, our webinar is being sponsored by UMA. I'll be your moderator and presenter, and we'll be joined by Robert Ferrer, Vice President of Business Sales for UMA. Rob has more than 20 years of senior sales leadership in building, growing, and scaling enterprise and SMB sales teams for SaaS and UCaaS companies, including Cisco, WebEx, Siemens, and ShoreTel. He's built and led multiple $200 million organizations and has extensive experience building rapid growth field and inside sales teams, channel sales organizations, opening and deploying new routes to market, integration acquisitions, and expanding into new geographic markets. So I'll be excited to hear from him. I'm sure you will too. Let's get into the beginning here. First of all, as we said, we're talking today about launching your own UCaaS practice easily and effectively. For those of you who may not, let's make sure we define our terms. UCaaS stands for Unified Communications as a Service. You become the provider of all communication services for your customer. Now, when we say unified, what are we unifying? What are we bringing together? Well, first of all, we start with simple texting, right? Everybody uses text messages, SMS today, to get the message back and forth between them. So texting is kind of a de facto, gotta have it. Sometimes when you're texting, it just gets to be too big a conversation. You want to start to talk to the person. In a UCaaS setting, you can just click and you're talking. As a matter of fact, click again and you see each other on video. The UCaaS system can really provide all business voice services, whether it's across your local area network, a wide area network, integrated with the public switch telephone network. You should be able to reach whomever you need to reach, whenever you need to reach them, using this UCaaS solution. Some people use UCaaS to include hosted PBX because that's been their strategy for a period of time and they think it's still a viable strategy. And they want to continue it, available. Cloud phone systems based on servers and storage have become much more popular over the past several years, much more flexible certainly, offering a wide variety of great services starting with voicemail, but going on to automated call response, and other terrific software-driven capabilities. People want to be able to integrate everything, every kind of communications device. They want to have their desk phone on a UCaaS solution. They want to have soft phones on their computers and their tablets. And of course, they want to be able to use their smartphones and other mobile devices. Some companies, more and more, are looking to establish call centers, especially as companies are moving from bricks and mortar to online presence. Customers still need people to talk to. So call centers are becoming much more prevalent, and a great call center software solution can make your call center a star. Finally, there's the concept of application integration. Lately, we're seeing artificial intelligence, machine learning, cognitive technologies being incorporated to make these systems predictive. They're anticipating what a customer is going to want or need. They're anticipating what has to be done next, and they're helping in an automatic fashion to go do it. Tons of applications like this are coming out, and then of course there are the classics. You know, there's customer relationship management, there's enterprise resource planning, ERPs, and other applications. In this setting, the UCaaS literally becomes the hub, the center of all of this. And if you're providing the center of all the applications your client uses, you're going to be pretty sticky in that account. They're not going to be able to get you out easily, and they're not going to want to. I mentioned a moment ago application integration. Integration in and of itself is really good news for you. Yes, monthly recurring revenue is wonderful. Personally, I think a lot of pundits make more of it than it is. It takes a long time to build up that book of business so that all of your accumulated monthly recurring revenue actually hits your nut and fulfills your break-even point. But that's a major component. The other major component is that you want to make money right now. I know I do. And you'd like to make money up front and like to have those big hit projects. Integration is becoming the most popular kind of project, where you provide the API and you provide the necessary code between multiple systems to get them working together. These projects are very lucrative and very valuable to your customers. So integration in and of itself is a wonderful benefit of unified communications to you as a provider. Also, unified communications is really something that provides all the solutions in one place. It's a single source for all communications: text, voice, audio, screen sharing, and so forth. It is literally the Swiss Army knife of applications. So customers know they can turn to one place and get all the services they need, and that's wonderful. So a great UCaaS solution is going to have all that functionality. It's not going to be using one software provider for voicemail and another software provider for PBX and another. It's all provided by one. And of course, when you're providing it, that one is you. So let's now take a look at what constitutes a superior unified communication solution. I should start by pointing out that there are, of course, 3 strategies available to you, as there always have been with any cloud-provided service. You can certainly build it yourself. You can go out and invest in all the equipment and all of the services, the communication services, the multiple redundant lines. You can buy the servers and switches and routers and storage and all of the different things needed, and then maintain them and power them and cool them. It's a very expensive proposition. If you haven't proven to yourself that you already have a market for it, you're going way out on a limb and taking an enormous risk to start by building your own UCaaS solution. You can, of course, broker a UCaaS solution. You can represent somebody else's solution. You can sell it at their prices and receive some kind of commission for it. It's predictable, certainly, but you have very little control over it. The price is set. The billing is done by the provider. You're really just a commission sales organization. So, brokering it has some good to say about it and some bad. And then, of course, you can buy it. Just as for many years, a lot of you bought products and resold them to your customers at a profit, you can now buy UCaaS services from providers who get it and understand what it is you need. And you can then resell them to your customers. Of course, there's a lot of big advantages to that, which I'm going to go over very, very shortly. So keep in mind, you can build it, you can broker it, but you're probably going to want to buy and resell it. So let's see now. Superior UCaaS. What does a customer want from that? First and foremost, they need to expand. They need to be able to connect multiple offices, because if they don't have multiple offices, they probably don't need a large solution. But there are some that put in a UCaaS solution in a single location because they have road warriors or other executives who travel frequently or even infrequently and need to be connected to the office and to customers. And that brings us to our next point. They want to have one solution that provides communications across employees and customers, connecting everybody, all in one solution. This means that all internal and all external communications are bridged. They're all one thing. They're all completely connected to each other and somewhat effortless. The BYOD phenomenon has been very interesting over the past several years. Now, the concept of bringing your own device means that each of your users chooses the device they want to use to get their work done. It's anticipated that most will want to use the same one they use to get their email and their texting and their phone calls done for them personally. And there's no reason that you can't, as long as the device can be secured properly and managed properly. So bring your own device became very popular, not only with employees, but also with employers, because now they found their employees working extra hours. They worked at the beginning of the day. They worked at the end of the day, into the night. They worked during their commute, and nobody was asking them to. It was just simpler to get the work done while you're relaxed in your commute, so they did. So BYOD became very popular. Now we're seeing it expand into CYOD for companies that don't want to support everything under the sun. It's called choose your own device. We'll show you a selection. You pick the one you want. We'll provide it. We'll provide the service. You use it, no problem. You can use it under a rule that says business only, customer owned, business only. It's referred to as COBO. And then, of course, your customers, your users, are going to have to carry 2 telephones, which some of them feel makes them look like a drug dealer, but it can be done that way. Others are adopting a COPE strategy, where it's customer owned, but it's personally enabled. They're allowing their employees to use the device personally because they've managed to use containers to segregate the business data from the personal data so the two don't cross. So a user can't take company data and email it to somebody using their own personal email. Very popular, growing in popularity. We're seeing a lot of different motions from bricks and mortar out to online activity. Work truly is becoming an activity, not a destination. Customers want, of course, to reduce their IT and communication costs. Now, when you have a wide area network of your own private wide area network, whether it's conducted over the internet or not, all of your internal calls go over that. They no longer travel the public switch telephone network. So all the tolls you were paying to have Office 1 call Office 5 and so forth, those fees go away. They're completely eliminated. And that's a big, big reduction. And when you're not owning and operating and maintaining and powering and servicing your own equipment, your cost of IT goes down as well, dramatically. That, of course, has been part of the big growth of cloud in itself. So customers want reduction in costs, certainly. They need scalability. They need to be able to grow. Everyone wants to grow. So when they go from 10 users to 10,000 and they can do so without having to throw out their existing investments and invest in new equipment, when instead they can just keep growing with what they have, that is a superior UCaaS solution. This supports business growth in so many ways. It improves customer service because communicating with a customer becomes effortless in whatever way is comfortable for that customer. Whenever you move anything to cloud, you're eliminating internal IT headaches. No longer do your IT personnel have to do the fundamental stuff. They don't have to operate the infrastructure. They don't have to maintain the servers. They just use the IT to make your business run better. And that's really what you want them doing. So, moving communications to the cloud eliminates a lot of your headaches. It allows you to consolidate multiple existing systems. As a matter of fact, eliminate a lot of them. For example, even if you don't go cloud, if you were just to simply conduct all of your telephony over your computer network, you've eliminated your voice network. Your voice network is a network. All of your desk phones are connected to each other and to the main switch via a network of cables. Now you have two. Your computer network, your phone network, get rid of one. It cuts your maintenance costs in half. Then you move the whole thing out to the cloud. Now you're down to a much simpler, easier to operate, easier to manage network that gives everybody access to the internet to connect and communicate. So every good reason to eliminate all of these systems, put it out there in the cloud, and focus on what you do for a living instead of putting yourself suddenly into the IT and communications business. Reduce management and security overhead. When you have fewer networks, there are fewer networks to secure. When you have fewer components of the network, you don't have to worry about multiple security solutions that have to be learned and used and managed and updated and otherwise taken good care of. All of that goes away. Of course, you're going to replace an outdated PBX. You're going to replace literally most of the equipment that's in your network closet right now. You can, with a great UCaaS system, you can add contact centers. You don't have to go out to another provider with another software product from another place. If you've got a great UCaaS solution, call center's an option. It's something you can turn on and get started using. Customers want that single point of contact. Believe me, no customer wants to have to go to a provider to deal with their communication services, to you to deal with their equipment, to somebody else to deal with their security. They want one party that they work with. A lot of them refer to it as one throat to choke. We absolutely prefer one hand to hold, certainly friendlier, and hopefully the outcome that we're looking for. But the point is they want that one-to-one relationship, just as much as you do. And so a great UCaaS solution should provide for that. The most visible outcome of that, one invoice. A single invoice for all communication and IT services that matches your customer's original purchase order, easy for them to tick and tie and pay, much less administration overhead, a much, much better way to proceed. And so this is what we think customers want from a UCaaS solution. Now that we've begun with the end in mind, the end customer, what do you want as a provider, as that single point of contact that we talk about? What do you want in your UCaaS solution? First and foremost, you want a profitable program. You want to be able to sell UCaaS along with everything else you do and sell it profitably. We talked before about building it yourself. That's a heavy, heavy investment. You really want to get into UCaaS, just like you want to get into any new venture, with as little risk as possible. When you are buying the service from an established provider, there's virtually no risk. You're buying it, you're reselling it to your customer, and you haven't spent a dime on infrastructure, personnel, or anything else. You're really in business almost immediately. One element that I believe every channel partner wants, and if they don't, they should think about it because they really do want it, is full ownership and control of the account. That's your account. You don't want to share that account. Yes, you may want to bring some vendors in to show your alliance and show that you're working closely together, but day-to-day operations, you want to be that one focus that they think of when they think of IT or communications. You want to be the one who helps them make every decision. And you don't want to have any surprises when somebody else suddenly made a decision that you don't agree with. You want full ownership of the account, full control of the account. That includes billing control. You want to be the one doing the billing. You want to be the one that they see your logo on their invoice every month. However, one thing you don't want to do, especially with communication services, you don't want to deal with the taxes, the tariffs, and the regulatory issues. They're thorny, they're complex, they're difficult, and it'll take you a long time to learn how to get around, to do all of them right. So you want to buy your communication services from a provider who can help you by taking care of that, by getting that headache off your plate. You do, however, want pricing control. We talked about this before. You're going to buy it for a cost. Whatever that provider charges you, that's your cost. Just like if you bought a server computer, you buy it at a cost and you sell it at a higher price to achieve a profit. The same exact model here. This gives you the ability to integrate communications as a whole along with the rest of your program. Whatever management and maintenance and support you provide for the equipment, for the users, for the applications, for the network itself, now you've also integrated complete comprehensive communications into that one big package. And that package carries its own singular monthly invoice. It's much easier for you, much easier for your customer. It's very expensive these days to process an invoice. So if you have to process 5 or 10 of them, it's 5 or 10 times more expensive for your customer. Here you're whittling it down to one relationship, one invoice for everything you need to communicate and operate information technology and communication in your company. You want to be able to provide that. You also don't want your customers to be able to shop you. You don't want them to suddenly say, well, I can get that cheaper. What about everything else? It's an argument you'll never win. So avoid it. Of course, I just said it another way, but you do want to be that single point of contact. The relationship is with your customer and you, and nobody else. Others can come in as guests, others can come in to vote confidence in you, but you are the one. And again, customers looking for that single invoice from you. You want to provide that single invoice. You may need help in adapting your invoicing system to send out monthly recurring invoices to achieve that monthly recurring revenue. But again, that is something you can buy from a provider who can do that for you along with all the taxes and tariffs. For those of you who are concerned about the financial aspects of this, you want to realize the revenue all at once. You don't want to only realize the commission and then have to compute the whole thing out, especially if you're kicking out an invoice. There's all kinds of operations that have to be done to reverse that. You just want to invoice them and then simply indicate what your cost was, just the way you've always done for everything else. Now, for the first time, you can really do that. You can have full revenue realization on your books. Your top line looks more impressive, but even more important, it's far easier to control. And consult with your CFO or your controller or accountant for more information on that. Most important, you want to be able to deliver your solution. You want to brand it. Some call it white labeling. I don't care what you call it. You want the customer to perceive the solution as yours. If they have a problem, they complain to you. If they love it, they congratulate you. If they need help, they turn to you. We talked before about the value of integrations. You need a platform to do that. You need a platform that is open and has hooks for APIs so that you can integrate other solutions into it. You know, great solutions have some APIs already available to you, but most important, they have the hooks. They have the ability to build an API between just about anything and them. So you want to make sure that you're investing your time, effort, and money in developing a relationship with a provider who allows you to integrate other solutions. Since we're talking about APIs, I again want to reemphasize, you want a provider who's ready and maybe has already incorporated some artificial intelligence functions. Very exciting, leading edge technologies that are making it far easier. They're automating more processes, and every process you automate saves money. So you want a platform that's open to AI and that is ready to talk about AI. Most important, it's got to be a solution that interoperates. When you look at the entire Internet of Things, interoperability is one of the most important features that any product can have. Interoperability with standards, whether it's the Wi-Fi standard, the Z-Wave standard, or any other communication standard. You want a solution that is standard observant, standards-based, and can easily interoperate with what it finds out there in the world. So, when you go out looking for this solution, here are some of the questions you should have ready for the provider you're talking to. First and foremost, you want to make sure that the system is able to handle business criticality. It's a system that will not go down, that is back up instantly if something else goes wrong, that has redundant backup circuits that allow for a lot of fault out there, very fault tolerant. You want a full service capability. You do not want to be cherry picking point applications and point solutions from a variety of vendors. You want one vendor who provides full end-to-end service. You want a provider that's cognizant of regional differences. The differences in the way local exchanges work, differences in the way taxes work from place to place. You want a provider that understands that and responds to it and makes it easy for you to remain compliant with whatever regulatory requirements you encounter. They take care of the taxation. They take care of the tariffs. They take care of the headaches. You also want to be able to select storage options. Not for nothing, but a big part of today's communication solutions is storing a lot of the data, messaging data, conversational data, data shared across the communication solution. You want to be sure that there are a wide variety of storage options because ultimately this solution is going to be collecting a lot of data and the storage is going to need to keep up. I can't emphasize enough the importance of full security. So make sure you ask about it. What do you do to secure your network? What is our security relationship? What's the security relationship between you, me, and my customer? How does that all work? And, what kind of assurances and, reliability can we talk to them about? Which is preferable? Do my customers have to build direct connections back to a home base, or can they just use the internet and your security is superior and adequate to make it totally secure, or as secure as it can be for them to communicate regularly using the internet? You're also going to want a flexible provider. Ask about how they handle verticals. What different feature sets do you provide? Some companies live and die on voicemail. Others live and die on email. I don't think there's any left who live and die on fax anymore, so let's hope not. But the point is that different verticals call for different functionality, especially if you're deeply involved in a vertical. That's a set of questions you definitely want to ask your communications provider. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to a superior single source solution and introduce you to Rob Ferrer of UMA. Rob?
Thank you. So before I get into it, and once again, my name is Rob Ferrer. I'm Vice President of Business Sales for UMA. When we thought about how we would attack this marketplace and deliver services and solutions to the partner community, we had a vision, and as you just heard from Howard on what you want in a UCaaS offering, I was just smirking to myself because we started our process with really 6 items that we wanted to offer to partners. The first one was we wanted to give them an opportunity to own the top line, right? To build their business, to turn it from something that was generating X amount of revenue to an order of magnitude larger. So give them the opportunity to own that top line. The next thing we thought about was, hey, well, let's give them some profitability control as well. Give them the opportunity to set a price and make as much profit as they can around their services. Third one was, let's do it with a low barrier to entry. Let's make it easy. And as Howard alluded to, there's been a lot of opportunities in the past where you could create your own offering, but it took a lot of heavy lifting, right? Buying technology, building networks, sourcing out data centers, and just staffing and building, managing, and maintaining. Our approach was, hey, how do you do this with a low barrier to entry? And one of the key ones that you'll hear us talk about is, regulatory fees and FCC and compliance, et cetera. Fourth one was account control, and you saw that. Howard talked a good amount of time. Is you want to make sure that you create an offer that truly delivers account control to the partner, and that's that includes invoicing and quoting and customer success. And then the fifth one was it's got to be customizable. The partner needs to be able to create their own solutions, bundle in other services, maybe expand upon the technology to deliver some custom solutions to a marketplace or a vertical. Then the final one is, number 6 is, hey, if I'm a partner, I better be certain that I am creating a relationship with a provider that can deliver. So we feel we've nailed it, and over the next couple of minutes here, I'll go through who we are and what our program is. But it really, when I think it was slide 16 of Howard's, what you want in a UCaaS offering, it was a little bit more detailed and some specifics, but it absolutely covered down the 6 items that we're excited about and what we really built our offering around. So with that, let me get into it a little bit. So who is UMA? UMA is a company founded, as you can see, 15 or so years ago. We're based in Sunnyvale. We really have 2 primary businesses. We have a residential business and we have an enterprise business. We just released our earnings today, and we're excited to announce that we grew our business revenue by 45% year over year. Now, for everyone on this call who is familiar with the UCaaS space, that puts us in rarefied air. Matter of fact, I don't know of any other UCaaS provider that's growing 45% on a real number, right? You could certainly grow 45% if you're a $5 million company. But our competitors are the folks that you would think are our competitors, are the Ring Centrals, the 8x8s, in the reseller white label environment, the Broadsofts and the Core Dials. So great amount of success. We've got over 1 million users on our systems. Here's a handful of the customers that we typically talk about, and these are some of our enterprise customers. there's some folks that we don't put on there because we're extremely successful with franchises. Franchises like Pizza Hut, franchises like McDonald's, Taco Bell, Advanced Auto Parts, Farmers Insurance, where a lot of these are independently owned, and we have hundreds and thousands of these individual franchises that we have on our system. So a tremendously successful organization to date over the last 15 years. And over the last couple of years, we've really put a strong commitment to this what we call a white label program, but that reseller program, delivering UCaaS to the partner community so they can go out and create the success that we have here. And what I'll talk to you about today is our offering and the products and what the benefit for you is, and then you can make a determination if we're the type of organization and the partner that you would be interested in creating your own offering on. So let's start with the solution. So again, I don't know what, in this case, I don't know what slide Howard went through, but he did a really good job of highlighting what's important about a UCaaS platform and an offering. And what we focus on and what we're proud about is we have really built a highly functional, voice-focused UC platform. Why do I say voice-focused? Because fundamentally, our customers want high-quality, high-reliability voice solutions because that's how they run their business. And so the UC functionality around that drives their business processes and their business applications. And that's why we'll highlight a very robust call center solution that's integrated. And we don't look to have a call center solution that is at a high premium fee. Those are contact center solutions, and we have contact center solutions as well. But we're talking about taking many of the functionalities that some folks would associate to contact center and putting them into call center. Of course, we have flexible solutions for whatever device or non-device that you would choose to use. So from a UCaaS platform, certainly we pride ourselves as being a leader in that space. But where we start to differentiate, because UCaaS is UCaaS, there's anywhere between 40 to 120 features that can constitute UCaaS. We start to differentiate is how we've built it. What is our architecture? And you heard Howard mention a couple of times the value and the power of an API. Well, we take that a little bit beyond just a standard API. I mean, everybody has APIs, and that makes it reliant on each individual vendor to expose what they want to expose, how they want to expose, and then somebody to build towards it. We're more of a platform as a service approach. Think about traditional platforms as a service where you can look at a specific customer's needs and really design towards that. It could be as simple as a standard Salesforce API integration, but it could be as customizable as if they have their own homegrown CRM or ERP solution or business process application. The way we've built our platform is you can integrate into that. And that really differentiates our partners in terms of the marketplace, because it is a pretty crowded marketplace. And again, you don't want to compete on those 55 or 60 UCaaS features. You want to differentiate, and you want to be able to deliver your custom solution. Then the other thing we focused in on, and this one's a show me. If you're anyone on the phone is from Missouri, it's definitely a show me state type thing. We're truly active, and we have 7 global data centers, and we configure and architect our network so that you hit the local data center, and it is a highly functional, integrated, active distributed architecture, because once again, if we're truly committed to voice, we have to adhere to a standard that was set many years ago by the PBX companies on 5.9, 6.9 reliability, and in cloud worlds, that's been hard to do. But this is the way we focused, and this is what we've built. So a very robust and resilient and reliable distributed architecture. So let's talk about the program. Going back is the first thing we wanted is flexibility. Now we have a full-featured turnkey offering. We have a variety of different deployment models, by the way. You could have a full-featured turnkey, but you could also take some flavors of build your own. But most of our customers have come on board and said, I want to get into this space. I want to have a really robust UC solution. I want to be able to bring it to market, fully featured, ready to go, and not have to worry about me thinking about connectivity issues, data center issues, carrier issues, etc. So our core offering is a full turnkey solution. But on top of that are those functions that I just talked about. It is extremely customizable. It is an API-first solution that is highly reliable. So back to that core functionality with all the features that you would expect. But what we also recognize is customers are very demanding now. The journey of learning about UCaaS and should I go into the cloud or shouldn't I go into the cloud, and to be direct, we don't talk a lot about UCaaS. We call it a business phone service or a business phone solution because that's what our largest enterprise call it. It's the industry forces UCaaS nomenclature down into their vernacular. What our customers and our partners' customers are saying is, hey, I need a really customizable, highly reliable business phone system or service, and I need it right now. So our program is matched to that need, which is your customers make a buying decision because they take 80% of the buyer's journey by themselves. They call us up, you up, when they're in the final 10%, 20%, and they're ready to go. So their questions are, can you do this? How fast can you do this? Am I able to integrate, and what's it cost? So we have to respond to that. So our program allows for extremely frictionless deployment and rollout. Here's where we really start to differentiate from anybody else who's in the offering is we give you a quoting tool and an invoicing tool. That means all the quotes you create on your customer's behalf with your brand, all the invoices are created for you by us, but are delivered by you with your brand and in your, and you're setting up the environment. You're collecting the bills, you're getting all the revenue, and from a customer perspective, they really don't know anything other but who you are and your brand. To that end, we give you and your customer a robust portal at your disposal. So what does that mean is from an end user customer perspective, there's a partner branded portal. We're providing it for you. You don't have to create that, but it's delivered for you, branded by you, that allows them to see what their orders are, pay their bills, and a variety of other functionality within that. Now, of course, we give that as well to you as a partner. You're going to get our portal, administrative and front end, so you can see who your customers are, track the payments of your customers, get the marketing resources, ensure that provisioning is going according to plan, etc. So robust portal functionality. While we have great custom API functionality, we expose that to you as well. So if you have that expertise, you can build upon that. So I've hit that button a couple of times. Here's what's really important, going back to that low barrier to entry. Traditionally, in order for you to go into this space, you would have to become a regulated entity. You'd have to work around that. We do that for you. You don't have to get a reseller certificate. You don't have to register. You don't have to comply. We're going to do all the tax calculation and all the remittance of all the taxes on your behalf. We do that based on your sell price. So our system will enable you to create your own sell price. We will calculate the taxes. You'll collect the taxes and your sell price from your customer. You will remit the taxes to us. We will send them in on your behalf, and then we will invoice you for what we're charging you for our services. That means, in layman's terms, when we get a resell partner, we can get them up as fast as they can prepare to get set up. And the big things that they're looking for is, hey, from their side point of view is I've got to make sure I have my payment gateway set up. There's, getting used to the system. There's training, it's all minimal. Again, low barrier to entry. So what does that mean to you? What does it mean to the partners? Where is its success? So let's go back to where I started. You're going to own that customer relationship. It's 100% your brand. You build your top line revenue. You own all that revenue, and you set your own margins because you create your own profit environment. You provide one quote and one bill to the customer with your services. So let me expand upon that a little bit. If you're providing installation services or professional services, or if you decide that you're going to buy the phones yourselves as opposed to buying them through us, or maybe create a rental program, buy the phones from us and create a rental program, you can do that and put those items onto that same invoice. So essentially, you're adding your additional services on that. One quote, one bill with your services, and we're able to allow that functionality. You can build your own integrations. You can use our integrations. You have flexible deployment models. I alluded to this. You can go turnkey, but we have some of our partners that actually use their own data centers. They are regulated entities. They do use their own data centers. So we're not exclusive to folks who are non-regulated entities. We have plenty of regulated entities that use their own data centers, use their own infrastructure, build their own their own integration. So we're extremely flexible to that. Bring your own bandwidth, etc. Key to our success across UMA Business and UMA Residential is the ease of deployment and customer management. That is where the big fall down tends to come. You could have a great solution, but if it's not simple to you, it's not simple to the customer, it becomes cumbersome to close customers. And fundamentally, it is really easy to get started. You just have to have a vision for what you want to accomplish. You have a conversation, and then if you have certain things in place, if you're prepared to bring on customers, you can have a UCaaS solution up within 30 days, signing customers, provisioning customers, billing customers, taking top-line revenue. And from our perspective, just start by that link. Start the process. We'll be happy to talk to you about it. We're happy to engage you and answer all of your questions. But of course, for here, we have a little bit of time of questions. I think we have just over 13 minutes. So I appreciate everyone's patience and time, and Howard and I will answer any questions that you have.
Great, Rob. Thank you. Actually, the first question regards integrations. Can you describe some of the custom integrations that UMA has done as examples?
Yeah, sure. I'll give you a great one for. We have a customer of ours. Actually, one of our partners has a customer that they are using a remote agent technology. So they're, as opposed to building their own call center, they're just enlisting agents at an ad hoc basis using a service. And they need to route those calls to the individual locations that need to receive the call, but they don't want to have any complexity associated with the customer. So they want to give a handful of 800 numbers out, and they want to quickly be able to route those calls. So our partner has this third-party solution as part of their portfolio, uses the UMA solution as the call center and call control back end. They deploy all of our phones at all of the locations. There's 1,000+ locations, and they've built on top of our call center. They've built a custom business analytic and reporting functionality that integrates into the third-party contact center solution, integrates on top, takes all of our call data and repackages it back to the customer, so that customer can really run their business by saying, oh, I see I'm getting X volume of calls. This is how much of the calls are coming through the remote agents, and this is the time of day, this is the average call time. This is how many are going direct to the individual locations, and when they don't go to the locations, how many are rolling back out to the calls at the contact center. So it's a very customized solution that quite frankly, has taken a relatively unknown partner and turned them into a very dominant player in one of the largest players in this industry that they're pursuing. As a matter of fact, it is the largest player in the vertical that they're engaged in. So that's a great example of one of our resellers building an integration into a third-party solution and delivering it to a customer and bringing over 1,000 individual locations on board with that solution.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, I've got a couple of technical questions coming in. First one, and I'll read it exactly as it came in. Are you built into Zoho, Clio, Slack? Question mark.
Okay. Yep. So when you say are we built into, we have the ability to integrate with, and I think you saw on one of our customers is Slack, so certainly we have an intimate relationship with Slack. We have very traditional ways to integrate into those, whether it's a Zapier-style integration or a Tray.io-style integration, so we do things like that. We also have the ability to have custom integrations, whether we deliver those as a professional services engagement to our partners, we can do that. Or if you have the acumen yourselves to build on top of our platform into those, that is accomplishable. So it's a bit of all of the above. So yes, you could use a Tray.io, for example. Yes, you can leverage our expertise to recreate an integration that we have for other partners. And yes, you can build it yourself if you have the acumen.
And the other technical question is, are you open SIP compliant for IP phones?
Yes, we are, of course, right? So we have some flexibility with certain phone types, and the phones that we provide, we've built some custom applications on, but we'll be able to support a standard SIP stack.
Great. Next question. This may take you the rest of our hour. This question comes from somebody who is not in the communications space yet. They're fascinated by what we've been talking about, but they want to know, as they approach this, what kind of training and preparation can they anticipate coming from UMA?
Great question. We have a number of partners who we are the first entry into the communication space. They have a variety of other services that they're providing that are within the technology space, but just not in the UCaaS or the telephony space. So very accustomed to that. We take a white glove. We do have a variety of different routes to market. One of those routes to market is a direct route to market, right? And because of that, we have experience in bringing on companies that don't. We were able to leverage that experience on bringing on companies that they maybe are first to cloud with our offering, and we've leveraged that to bring on partners where this is the first time using a telephony solution as part of their portfolio. So we have a variety of different touch points. So as simple as just giving you portal access that is simple to run your business, and then assigning a customer success team that onboards our partners with I guess the simple way to put it is with the eye towards you don't have any experience. And based on the experience that you have, then we modulate towards that. But we built a model that assumes that this is your first time being a white label or a reseller, and let's walk through exactly how you work with us. That also serves for all of our partners because we do have a different model. Like we are providing tax calculations and remittance, and we're providing a quoting tool that folks can't provide, and an invoicing tool that other folks can't provide, because our offering is so different with this, because we have this very robust back office system that even the companies that we do have on board who have UCaaS experience don't have the experience of kind of how we've delivered it in the space. You know, we put a premium on that onboarding process.
Excellent. I've just gotten another technical question. Will you offer the new Avaya Open SIP portfolio?
You know, I don't know. So while I appreciate that I may have indicated that I am a highly technical resource, I am not. I am part of the business side of the house. That is a great question. We will follow up with you on that.
Okay. By the way, to follow up, I believe you'll see Rob's email address on one of these slides, and you can certainly ask your questions directly. My email address, if you want to send them to me, is hmc@hmc right now, with right being spelled W-R-I-T-E. I'll be glad to facilitate getting your questions answered. This next question that came up is one you may not be able to answer fully in the time remaining, but certainly a question that I'm sure is burning in everybody's minds. Please discuss costs and markups for white labeling UMA.
Okay. Before I do, simply put, robert.ferrer@uma.com. Yeah, so
Great.
let's stay on the turnkey, because if you change the model, the turnkey, which is you're getting a fully functional UC solution, obviously we know the marketplace. So we know what the standard MSRP is. We know what the most common sell price is. The way we've priced our solution, because it is turnkey, we're pricing it for the most part the way you would see a go-to-market price is, right? You know, you price it per seat. You have some additional add-ons to it, but fundamentally it's the seat, the user, the profile, whichever you like to call, and you have your tiers of seat user profile. You have, you know, your standard, your advanced, your super advanced, your call center, whatever your naming convention is indifferent. And then we give it to you, the way we price it to our partners is we price it at a wholesale rate. And that wholesale rate allows you to go to market with an extremely competitive solution and still have a great margin above what if you took what was commonly called a retail commission model, which is, you go to RingCentral says, here's our price. Oops, sorry about that. I hit the button inappropriately. I was just, my screen went down. RingCentral says the price is $39.95, and we're going to pay you X commission behind it. In our model, we certainly want to say, hey, we know what we know what that offering is going to be. You're going to come and you're going to be able to create a margin, and that margin should be and still be competitive. It's going to be in that 35 to 55% range, depending on how you bundle your offering and what you put into it. You should have that level of flexibility and the volume that you buy from us. So that we know what is going to incent a company to really embrace a successful white label program or reseller program. We know what margins make sense. We know what the retail commission margin structure looks like because we have those programs as well. I know it from being at ShoreTel and Cisco and Siemens for all those years. I know the space. I know the differentiation we're creating. And I know when you want top-line revenue, you also want some good, profitable margins. So we've built it to really be able to deliver attractive margins and flexibility to create solutions that really allow you to control your sell price and the profits that you get from those sales. And I think that might have taken
Great
me
answer.
to the top there.
I was going to say it's very fortunate that the end of our questions coincides with the end of our hour. So I'd like to thank Rob. Thank you, Rob, for joining us on this presentation. Hopefully you've learned everything you need to know to take it the next step and click that link that Rob provided and begin the process of getting involved with UMA. And they're very interested. I think their model is fascinating. They've really tried to think through everything a partner needs to get the job done. with that, remember that the slides are available to you as a PDF at the bottom of the screen. The recording will be up on Channel Partners Online later today, so you can go look at this presentation again or refer it to others. And we will see you next time at our next webinar. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.